good? Awesome. Thank you, everyone. We are live streaming this on SFRC's YouTube feed. So welcome everybody that is on YouTube. I'm going to say it again. My name is McKay. I'm the general manager at SFRC. Happy Pride, everyone! And I am so excited to be joined by the wonderful Ryan Montgomery today. We just went on a 4-mile run in the Headlands.
Yeah.
How was it?
It brings back so much like memories of like when I used to live here. So yeah, it was great and had a great conversation.
Yeah. What's your favorite Headlands trail?
I feel like what is it? Is it called SCA? Is that what it's called? When you're heading towards San Francisco and then the bridge is like popping out. I feel like that just like brings back so many memories of like doing long training runs here. And sometimes you can't see the bridge because it's in fog. Sometimes you can, but I just love that little bridge.
That was probably my very first trail that I ever ran in the Headlands, and exactly how you described. So welcome. We are celebrating your Western States bid this year. So we got second place in Javelina in 2021. Yes. And then the last race that qualified me for this
current Western is Tarawera in New Zealand.
What was that like? We have Leo in San Anselmo who loves a Kiwi, New Zealand running. So what was it like running in New Zealand?
So everyone that talks about like how cool New Zealand is, how awesome it is, they're right. It is like really cool. And the trails there were fantastic. I thought the race production was great. And it was just kind of fun to like run through like a rainforest all day. But yeah, it went really well. And then I vacationed in the South Island in Queenstown, which if you've never got the chance to go to Queenstown, you should just go, like buy a ticket tomorrow and go. Actually, maybe not tomorrow because it's winter.
Yeah.
But our winter, you should go there. But yeah, it's fun.
Awesome. So let's rewind a little bit. You started running, long distance running at a really young age. So 15 was your first marathon?
Yeah. Well, you did your research. Okay.
I cheated. I used my resources, is what I would say. And you have a really great online profile. So thank you for being so with your information. So first marathon at 15. Wow. Like I was watching Bring It On and practicing.
I was doing that too.
Okay. Cool. What drove you to like? That's just ambitious for a 15-year-old. I'm thinking just from my experience as a 15-year-old.
Yeah, I think when I was in high school, so growing up as queer for queer people in the room, I feel like a lot of us like grew up seeking like validation because even though we might not have been out at that time, like we were constantly like knew this internal conflict in us. And so for me, like a lot of outlets of like validation were like school, and I'm going to be a straight A student. In sports, I'm going to be the best sports athlete. And so especially when it came to running, I was just really inspired by these long distances and like marathons in general. And I remember I told my cross country coach when I was a freshman, and I was like, hey, I'm going to go do this marathon. And she said, Ryan, if you do this, you are like not going to run again. Like you can't do this. And so it was like that rhetoric of like, you're not good enough, or like you can't be this person. And like subconsciously, I think I was like, well, I'm going to do it, you know, like that type of like reaction, which you can argue is unhealthy at that moment. But I think that's what catapulted me into discovering like what ultra running and just long distance running did for me. Because in that marathon, I like learned so much about myself. I like pushed myself in new ways that I never could experience otherwise. And I think that just like was the catalyst for like wanting to explore like what distance running could allow me to learn about myself. So
You grew up in the Pacific Northwest,
Yep.
me too. Walla Walla, where...
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Did you know I lived in Pendleton?
No!
I guess this is the moment here. I was in high school in Pendleton.
Oh my gosh, I lived on the state line.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So, for those of you that don't know, Walla Walla, Washington, the town's so nice, they named it twice. In about 30 minutes, 45 minutes from Pendleton, Oregon, which is where they make all these expensive blankets. I grew up with Pendleton blankets, and I was like, these are the worst blankets, but apparently...
I mean, not anymore. They're
they're
founded there, yeah.
They're founded there. So,
Outsourced to China, but yeah.
so it's very small, very conservative. So how did running help you find your identity? Because I know that area. I grew up in that area. I came up to life in California, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did running help you with your identity?
So it actually was before Pendleton, which Pendleton is very rural and conservative. Actually, even farther more rural is in middle school I lived in Alaska, in a town of 1,100 people. So it was incredibly small. And I remember when I lived there, there was this small little peninsula in the town that we lived on, and I would go on this 2-mile stretch of trail. And I remember I just felt very free. It was my space. And I remember seeing the water hit the shore, and I could hear the birds. And I think that was just the feeling of, even in the places where you feel alone, I just felt so welcomed by nature in that moment. And so you fast forward to Pendleton, where it's the prairies of Eastern Oregon. I found that same feeling of just fulfillment and connection to nature, and that's all I needed to feel validated and to feel welcomed. Even with the wheat field, it was a different terrain. So
that's amazing. You make it sound so beautiful.
It is I know it maybe sounds maybe foo-foo-y or poetic, but it's I think nature just teaches us so much that nature inherently is just so diverse, and if you you really open up your eyes to it, you're wow, I feel welcomed here, you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
So moving forward in that progression, what happened at 16? 16 was...
Oh, that was when I did a expedition.
Yeah.
That thing? Okay.
Yeah. What was that, and is it just that call of nature that you're I'm gonna go do this expedition?
Yeah, this is such a random thing that happened, but I think is a big catalyst for who I am today. But there's this nonprofit, and they invite youth to go on these running expeditions. And the whole premise of this is to inspire and empower youth to go beyond perceived limits. And so I got accepted into this expedition, and they took me to Bolivia. So you can imagine, I'm in my bedroom, doing interviews for this, and I get accepted, and I'm hey mom, by the way, I just got accepted into this expedition to Bolivia. I'm gonna go there in 3 months. And she was what? But yeah, at Bolivia, we ran about a marathon a day for 5 days. And you can imagine the stress that puts on your body running at 10, 12,000 feet in the Altiplano. It was hard, but it was funny because after day 3, I felt my body was actually more fresh than it was on day 1 or day 2. And so I was learning how the body actually responds to stress in an incredible way. And so that was my moment where I learned about ultra running. A lot of the guides on this expedition were crazy ultra runners that had run across the Sahara and have all these world records. And so I was just wow, I want to do this someday. I want to be an ultra runner. And so here we are. Now I'm one of those crazy people.
Now you're one of those crazy people, and you're quite good at it too. Amazing. Thanks, Olivia. Had you that's a big trip to make at 16? Had you gone abroad prior to that? Or?
No, that was my first international trip.
So marathon a day, first international trip, South America.
Yeah.
Done.
Hit them all.
Yeah, just did it. That's amazing. So now, what brought you to the Bay? How'd you get here? And how did you find SFRC? I love that
So I have a lot of history with SFRC.
Yeah.
And especially some people in this room were like some of my first like running acquaintances here in San Francisco. But so I went to university in Utah, and then my first job out of university was in San Francisco. So that's why I moved to San Francisco in 2018.
Okay.
So a few years back, and I was identifying as a trail runner, but I was like still like finding my grounding in like the space. And it took me a few months to like build the courage to come to these group runs. And I showed up to a group run, and I was like, I think I can like hang on with this front pack. Like they look really fast. And I just remember running SCA and like dropping down into Rodeo Valley and like uphill 88. And I just like, wow, this is like so hard. These people are raging. And I have to say, not every SFRC run is like that. But there's like people of all abilities. But I was like aspiring to like be with that group. And so yeah, I think I just spent a lot of time coming to SFRC runs on Saturdays, like month after month after month, and just like trying to be better. And I think that is like really what catapulted me into becoming a more competitive runner, because I had no idea what I was doing back in 2018.
It's the Hill 88, right?
Oh, it's the Hill 88 every time.
So I have a question. Do you prefer to go, after you get to Hill 88, do you prefer to go down coastal, or do you prefer to go up coastal to Hill 88?
I like going up coastal. It's pretty gnarly, but it's kind of crazy. Yeah.
You're insane.
With the stairs. Oh,
yeah. So our Headlands Half this year, spoiler, will go up coastal before finishing. So you're welcome. Carolyn, I see you at third place finishing, second place this year, second now this year. Yeah. Our Headlands Half is our women's only half marathon that happens in October. So sorry, side comment. Okay, so you started getting this competitive edge thanks to the SFRC. I call them the Hammer Group. I'm part of the sexy pace or the party pace.
The party pace.
The party pace back in the back. The caboose. When did bringing in the leadership in the LGBTQ plus community come into this trail running part of you, or was it always something part of you?
I mean, it's always been a part of me, but I think I had like an epiphany moment last year when I started Out Trails, because I feel like for those who identify as queer, gay, whatever that looks like, it is such a like significant part of you, but also like inherently vulnerable at the same time. And I think I've most of my life have kept those cards like really close to me, because if I feel like I extend it out too much and it gets damaged by someone saying something, or it gets damaged because I have, you know, a negative experience, I think I might even like retreat more in, right? And so I think a lot of my life I've like kept those cards. And so last year, I think as I've been growing in my sport, growing in my community, I think it came with the realization that I can make more of an impact by sharing my cards out more, even though I knew it was going to make me more vulnerable. And I had to accept that risk. And I'm so glad I did that, because I just feel like more whole, and I feel like I can just like be my full self.
Yeah.
So it's been like a slow process, but I think last year was like my full commit.
Yeah. You started and what's happening this year with Out Trails?
Yeah.
Something got announced, right?
Yeah, so we did last year our first running retreat for queer people, and we're doing it again this year. And yeah, it's so awesome. And actually, Ultra is one of our biggest sponsors on the retreat.
Yay.
And part of the sponsorships is to create scholarships for people. So there's like low barrier to entry, no financial barrier for people. We're offering 25 scholarships, so pretty much like full cost for free for people to come to. And I didn't realize like how impactful this would be until the retreat last year, when because of the scholarship, we were able to bring a lot of people from the BIPOC community, from the trans community. There's a lot of rhetoric right now, anti-trans, and so it's like really important to bring that community in. And on this retreat, you were there. Thank you for being here. Just the conversations I've heard, because I am not a trans person, I don't know that lived experience, but to hear these people say, this is the first time that I've been on a trail with someone like me who has had top surgery, and there was like a group of these people that took a selfie with each other, and they've all have like their scar marks from, like, think about how meaningful that is. Like, that's so special that we were able to create that space for those people. And so, yeah, I just like walked away from that running retreat being like, yeah, this is like what I'm like wanting to do, is to facilitate this experience. So yeah, we're gonna do round 2 again.
What's the goal? What's the long-term look like for Out Trails? Is it just gonna always be in the Pacific Northwest? Can we convince you to explore the headlands?
Yeah.
Is there?
There's already chatter about like, so part of Out Trails, I think, is more of like a trail sister model. I kind of look at that as like a proof of concept that has been successful. So we're doing like these offsites, but we have group runs in Salt Lake and Seattle right now. And I think the goal is by the end of this year, hopefully by the end of the summer, to have group runs also here in Marin or San Francisco and like the Colorado area. So yeah.
Oh. We'll talk.
Yeah, we'll talk.
My people will tell your
Okay,
people.
So maybe this will be a perfect catalyst for it.
Exactly, I love it. Well, we watched the film at the Trail Running Film Festival, and it was just inspiring because, like I said, I grew up in a very conservative area. It wasn't okay to be that way, and living in San Francisco, we have great representation. But seeing the film and talking about it, we got to talk more about this. Like the Trail Sisters are an amazing partnership with SFRC, or they partner with us and join us. So I would love to do the Marin chapter.
Yes,
that's awesome.
we should do
We'll
it.
talk more.
Okay.
Okay. FK, I checked today, and you are still the champion of the FKT unsupported at Wonderland.
Oh yeah.
You are. I double checked. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Nobody's come after it, apparently. Why?
Why not?
Why? My marathon was the North Face Endurance Challenge. Only one, but I just can't see 100 miles. It's more than that, right? Yeah.
The Wonderland? It's
No
actually-
wonder 94 miles.
It's like 94 miles.
Yeah, 94. But still.
Like round up. 100.
Yeah. It'll be 90 if we were rounding, but whatever. Yeah, we're
So why Wonderland? So growing up in the Seattle area, I would just spend my whole childhood admiring Mount Rainier. And I realized during the pandemic when everyone was doing FKTs, and I have such a personal relationship to Rainier. Like, I should just go do the freaking Wonderland. And so I was training that fall, and so I just decided to do the Wonderland FKT. And
casual.
just I mean, obviously I trained for it,
Of course, yes.
but I just thought it would be such a great way to come full circle, going back to my roots of the Washington area.
When you do those solo missions, Leo is my coach on this, and he's an amazing athlete. He said, what calls you? What called you to that mission? And you said it's the connection, but it's so much effort and time and risk to do it. Does it get scary, or is it
So honestly, I probably should have prepared more for it. No, I'm pretty dialed in terms of this is all the nutrition I need now. But for the Wonderland fastest known time, I just like grabbed a bunch of things and I like put as much as I could in my pack. And I'm like, this should be fine. This should work out because it was self-supported, so I couldn't get any support.
Did you stash bags, or
No.
you couldn't stash bags?
No, so I did unsupported.
So yeah, you can't.
So I couldn't even do stashes. No. I also didn't even have a water filter. I was just like, here we go. So I do not recommend that. Again, Ryan was not prepared. But I think my approach to it was just that I was channeling just like I wanted to experience like all of Mount Rainier had to offer. And the Wonderland Trail circumnavigates the volcano. And like just the whole day, I feel like I would always look up and I see a new angle of the mountain. And I'm like, wow, this is like such a different environment. And then 2 hours later, you're on the north side of the mountain. You're like, wow, it's like so different. Like it's so beautiful. There's like new different types of mushrooms and the trees are different. Like just that was my mood the whole time. And so it was just really fun. I felt like I was just watching a movie, like having fun. Yeah. I did fall once. That was not fun.
What happened?
I fell and like kind of cut open my arm a little bit, but it wasn't that bad.
Right.
That was not fun.
That was not fun. How cold was the water this weekend at training camp?
It wasn't that cold.
Really?
I jumped into the El Dorado, which is the last river before you go up to Michigan Bluff, I think. Yeah. It felt nice, but it wasn't that cold.
That was pretty cool.
It was. Hey, you're talking to someone who is like an ice bath champion. So yeah.
This is so hot.
I was shivering.
Fair weather.
He's just going to be doing his first 100-miler this year. No big deal. Yeah. Are you going to look for him?
Yeah.
Are you going to like?
We always see each other. Yeah.
Okay. Before we get into the silly stuff,
Okay.
what do you want your legacy to be? What is wrong now?
What question?
What do you want the people like me in Walla Walla, Washington, who are scared to come out and also want to go out on the trail and maybe they don't know how to do it? Like, how do you talk to that person that wants that and bring them out of their community? Sorry.
No, you didn't scare me. Just surprised.
Yeah, I know. It wasn't on the Thanks, Almanac.
I'm really passionate about helping people understand all the adventures that are like so close to them. Because like for me, I feel like the outdoors and trails are like my safe haven. It's like my safe space. It allows me to, it doesn't judge me. I can be on a trail and I can just like be me. And I like, feel like I can go into all the deep corners of my brain and I can like process all these things. And that's such a wonderful gift and a privilege. And so I think for people that live in the Pendleton, Oregons of the world, like you can find that in like in your town. It just like might look different than like me running in Utah. It's going to be different, but it's like the education of helping people understand what's accessible to them. So I think that's one. And the second thing, I think it's just like the community aspect. I think a lot of my life I've craved community of people like myself. And I think I just decided that I'm going to go create that community for myself, for other people. So I think that's the other thing I want to leave an impact on is like make those like connections. Because something that is really powerful is from that Out Trails retreat last October is that I'm seeing all of the participants, they're like having their own meetups outside of this. And so that's the point of like what I'm doing is like they're making friends and they're expanding their own networks and communities. And so that's the goal.
Okay, you ready for the silly questions?
Yeah.
All right. Tell me about tell me about conference calls on long runs.
Okay, so
How?
when I was a bad employee during the pandemic, I used to listen to conference calls while skate skiing up in Tahoe when I lived up in Tahoe, and It was probably because I was leaving that job shortly, so I really didn't care. So I definitely have done that. But in my current job, I'm very client facing, and I'm in sales calls a lot. So I have to be on Zoom, and that just like doesn't work. If you're like, on a trail, and they're like, "So Ryan, what do you think?" You're like, "No." Yeah. Plus, I'm just on camera a lot, so I separate those now. But I used to.
You used to.
Bad, right?
Bad.
Yes.
Favorite pre-race food?
Pre-race food. I love oatmeal and like avocados and bananas. So usually like eat something like that.
Yeah.
Or I'll do like eggs and toast and avocado.
Good. And post-celebration.
And also pre-race the day before I like pizza.
Okay. What kind? Toppings. Pineapple on a pizza. Yes or no?
Would I purchase it myself? No. Would I eat someone else's slice? Yes.
Correct. What about mushrooms?
On pizza?
Yeah.
Or in general?
No, on pizza. Not in the area. Have you ever done mushrooms gone on a long run?
Yes. Yes, but not like the craft mushrooms that are like just like the blind ones. They have to be like the high caliber ones.
Okay. Top pizza in San Francisco?
Ooh, I don't know.
Delfina? No.
It's been too long.
It's been too long. Okay. Post-race. Celebration meal. What are you going to have after Western States?
Probably nothing. My stomach's gonna be trashed. But
We're gonna hang out in the med tent.
what?
We're gonna hang out in the med tent.
Yeah, we're gonna hang out in the med tent. They're gonna give me an iPad. Actually,
Yeah, we're
I'm like, let's go.
Reinhardt, the whole
Okay, funny story actually.
Yeah.
So at Javelina, which if you don't know what Javelina, it's a 100-miler in the desert in Arizona. I ran this race a year and a half ago, and I got super dehydrated because I just couldn't get enough liquids in. And at the finish line, I'm like sitting in this camper trail chair, and my legs are like slowly just like seizing up, just like this. And I was like, guys, I don't feel good. I was like, I think I need to go. And I started like shaking, like shivering. So I went to the med tent, and I was like convulsing. I think that's like pretty common after like extreme efforts. So they gave me an IV, and I felt amazing now. Like, so good. I stopped shaking. I actually could like bend my leg again. So electrolytes and salt.
Electrolytes.
Salt and electrolytes.
Yeah, what's your go-to?
So yeah, that's my answer. Post meal is IV. If they give it to me.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Ultra is your sponsor.
Yeah.
What's the relationship? What are your favorite shoes right now?
Okay, so for trail running, I really like these shoes.
Okay.
They are called the Mont Blanc
Boa.
Boa. So the Boa is this lacing system, which I really like because sometimes in a race, you're like, maybe I want it a little bit tighter, and I just go, half a millisecond, just go, there it goes. Or, maybe it's a little tight, you just go, oh. So it's really nice. So that's why I like these. And then for road, actually Ultra today just launched their new road shoe. It's called the Torrent 7. 7, that's 8.
Available at SFRC.
Available at SFRC. But in all seriousness, I actually really like the shoe because I actually really like cushion. And I feel like that shoe is going back to what the Torn used to be about 2 years ago, where I ran a 24-hour race and like their Torn, was it like a 3 or 4 plush? I think it was like the Torn 4.
4 or 4.5.
Yeah, that's the shoe I ran a 24-hour race in, and I loved it. And so I feel like this shoe is going back to that. So I'm a fan.
Yeah. Why do shoe companies change their good shoes?
I don't know.
I know, it's like, you gotta get back to it. So, guilty pleasure. It can be trash TV.
My first reaction to
Yeah.
that is food, but why do I Why would I think food? I should do
No guilt. What's your guilty pleasure food?
I don't have one.
You don't have one?
No.
You're an outdoor person. Do you watch like any like trashy TV or?
Okay, my favorite show, actually, when I just like want an easy show to watch, is I love British Bake Off, but especially Junior Bake Off. Have you seen the British Bake Off with the kids?
No.
It's gonna change your life. So you should watch it. You're just gonna watch all of them. They're like so cute, and it's a disaster most of the time. And then when they get eliminated, they cry, and it's so sad. But they're so cute. And I'm like, okay, sorry, one more thing.
No, I love it. I love it.
And like some of these kids are from all over the UK, and the kids that are like from Wales, and I'm like, what are they saying? Like, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, so just hearing the accents are just really cute.
Oh, I will check it out. Is it Netflix?
Netflix. Yeah.
All right, got it. Any questions from the audience? We got like 3 minutes. Quick question. Anybody want to ask Ryan a question?
What's your goal time at States?
Okay, you can't ask time because this year's going to be a disaster with snow. But my goal, A goal is podium, and B goal is top 10.
Who are you most afraid of?
I'm afraid of myself. That's the biggest.
Awesome. Well, I'm so excited to watch you on the 24th. It's going to be amazing. We will have a watch party here at SFRC to cheer you on.
I want to come.
You gotta run a race.
Okay.
You gotta get it first.
Okay.
Deal. That snow's gonna be awful.
I'm channeling, I'm manifesting just like coming into Placer High School, and I'm like hitting a track, and it's Pride Month, and someone's gonna throw me a Pride flag. I'm like, oh, remember me? Like, we're people?
We're gonna sign this, and we're gonna send this. We're gonna have it in the main station.
Yes.
We'll figure it out. But we'll all sign this
And then we'll leave
tonight.
it here.
Yeah, and then we'll leave it in SFRC. So, everybody give it up for Ryan. All right, guys, thank you so much for coming out. Have a great night.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Awesome.